How's it, guys? I just want to do a quick update on the market, on the altcoin specifically. And you can see we did get a bit of a bounce, but this is not really realistic in terms of what the bounce was. It's just because we had a liquidity sweep to the downside and we got a reaction. So, seeing positives today doesn't really mean that we're looking for longs. So just bear in mind. But I do want to go over ZEC. I was looking at it this morning. I want to see if there's a potential setup that we can look at because we've got quite a nice move there. And then also Atom, want to go over as well. I'm not really going to look at stable. These types of tokens is not really what I'm interested in. Virtual is looking pretty decent as well. So let's run into the charts. And get straight into it because I want to speak about these levels, right? So let's have a look at virtual first. And then we'll get into everything else here. Right. So looking at virtual, let's have a look on the daily. So this was, this was Feb. We were speaking about virtual getting a pump off that level. This was a beautiful setup. I didn't actually even take this, but let's have a look at, let's remove that. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. I just want to mark out the daily high and the low from yesterday because if you look at virtual, we took out this low over here, right? So this is something to always note, right? We take out this low and we almost at this high over here, which is the next liquidity zone, right? And currently we're at the previous day high right now. So these are like the key levels that you should be putting on the charts because these are the liquidity zones, right? 4-hour time frame, can't really see much of there. We're looking at continuation back up to potentially 0.71. 77, because you can see how price made it like a triple bottom at these lows. You can see how this was a key support zone. If you look over here, this was a very, very strong level for virtual, right? So you can see how whenever price tapped this zone, we did get a reaction to the upside. So we have to keep that in mind. So just looking at this on the 1-hour time frame, we can see that okay, cool. What where are our next levels? Looking at this on the 1 hour, you can see that this is at that high that we haven't taken out yet. This could be seen as a lower high, but it's creating a double bottom over here. It makes me think that we can potentially take out this high over here for virtual, right? So I'm going to look at like potential setups on the lower time frame because we know where the zones are. We do know that this is a previous day high over here. So, getting above here would be super critical. We do have this fair value gap that's sitting right over here. Which is something that I needed to see get taken out first. And then I want to look for a potential breakout long to take out the highs, right? Because that's going to be the setup that I want to get involved in. Because we know that we took out the daily low. If you look at the daily time frame, we took out that low over there. This is just a retrace, and then looking at this on the daily, you can see how price wanted to come down. I don't think we're going to take out this low, but there's a potential for taking out this high first. Whoopsies. There's a potential for taking out this high over here and then flipping bearish back down, right? To maybe take out that low. Because if you look at the daily time frame, we are in this gap over here. This is a massive fair value gap over here. You can see our price tapped this level, which was that daily high, So, just looking at virtual on the 15 here, I want to just wait for price to close above the zone over here for continuation. But the problem is on the 15, we did break internal structure to the downside, right? So that's something to look at. Then you look at the 5 minutes, you can see how we broke this low and we broke this low, right? So you can see, looking a little bit closer, this is a key level for us to take for the bulls. But this could also be a massive rejection zone, right? A huge rejection zone because, we have created like a double top from this level over here. So for longs, you have to get above this level on the 15 for longs. But for sells, I'm more interested in taking sells because of the fact that, we did break the lower time frame structure, right? You broke this low over here, you broke this low over here, and you got back below this with the retrace, right? So you can see how structure is just creating lower lows and lower highs. Even over this, it's equal highs, but you can also call this a lower high over here because, the body candle is lower than this, right? So for me today, I'll be honest, guys, like it's been so chopped this week. Personally, you can just look at the 4-hour time frame on total 3. It's just not much. And Bitcoin, same. It's like literally just ranging the whole week. So just going back to virtual and just speaking about like this week in general, it has been really difficult, for setups, in my opinion. Nothing's really played out in terms of continuation. We did get a nice FET short that some of you guys did make money the other day because it played out quite well. But I mean, overall, it just hasn't been a great week in terms of altcoins, and it's also mainly due to Bitcoin dominance just absolutely ripping. Making a new high since pretty much November, right? So, this is the potential triple top level for Bitcoin dominance at the zone over here. So, hopefully altcoins can get some relief if we get rejected from the zone. But I'll be honest, it's looking more bullish than bearish for Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm looking at a potential sell off this level here for virtual. To take out this daily low over here, I'll be honest, it's looking pretty clean, because if you look at the daily, it's just looking like we've attempted to take out the high this morning, and then we created that double top on the 5, right? So very, very interested in taking a potential short here for virtual, although it has pumped quite hard today. This is looking pretty decent. I want to see price break this 5-minute low, and then look for stops just above there, and then take profits. Going to be pretty aggressive. You want to take profits, but you could potentially look at taking out this low over here for a nice little swing sell. Okay, but for me right now, taking a sell straight away off this level is not the plan, because you can potentially get a 15-minute close above the zone where I'll be looking for longs as well, right? But because we broke this internal structure to the downside over here, it's making me seem like we might actually get a sell-off from this level, right? But it's all about waiting for the candles to close. So the 15-minute candle closes above the zone, then I'll be looking for continuation to the upside. Also knowing that virtual did get quite a nice move on this bounce. You can see over there, is looking pretty decent in terms of the daily, but I want to just wait and see if we can get a close above that zone. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for virtual. And then if we look at ZEC, let's have a look here. We're gonna use we won't use OKX. We'll use this one. It's fine. I think it's this one, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. It's more bullish than bearish in terms of SEC. If you look at the 4 hour as well, this type of structure is showing us that this is a potential breakout, and we've kind of already broken out here. The 4 hours retested this level. 1 hour looking pretty good. You can see how 1 hour literally retested and then closed bullish here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite interested in looking at long stay for virtual. Took out that low, broke structure to the upside, created a new high over here, retested this level. To be honest, it looks pretty clean in my opinion. I'd probably look at potential longs for virtual today, even on the daily. Like, if you can see on the daily, this would have been a beautiful long, but you can see, like, with these trends, even like on the daily, you would have to wait for this candle to close above, you know what I mean? And then you really close back above into the range. So ideally, you would want to see price like close above here, and then you look for long back up to these levels, right? So, we got something similar over here. You can see all this, a lot of indecision in the market, and you can see how the buyers just pressed in at that zone. This is a strong zone, a lot of buying pressure. Whenever we get a reaction off this zone, we do actually see price continue going higher. So definitely very interested in taking a long off the zone. I'm trying to check virtual. Yeah, if we can 15-minute close above that zone, I'm going for a long. Yeah, I'll be honest. I will just inverse that level. You're looking at like a nice little, and you push your stops just above that 50-minute low. A nice little 1 is to 2.28. So, for the sell side, you want to see price close below this 5-minute low over here, because then it confirms a potential double top. So it's all about being patient with this setup. You can go either way, right? Because it's going to go either way from this level. So you want to wait for price to confirm structure to the downside, close below there. But in terms of like buys, you want to see price close above that zone. Okay. And then just looking at Bitcoin, I mean, for me personally, it's just so chops. Like, I mean, you can't really do anything. Since Tuesday, price has literally just been ranging. So I don't know. You would have to wait to see price close above this range, or below this range, but you can just see literally just nothing for the whole of the week for Bitcoin. And that's obviously put pressure on the alt, because when Bitcoin kind of just goes sideways and Bitcoin dominance is pumping, it's not a good sign for altcoins. I'll be honest, right? It's not a good sign for altcoins. So you want to see Bitcoin pumping and then Bitcoin dominance dumping, and then altcoins will get that move, right? So for me today, looking at the daily on total 3, it's also just super choppy. I'll be honest. There's not much to do. It's gonna be a tough market until we get like a clean break above these highs, or like a clean break below this low over here. Then you'll have direction in terms of total 3. But this is pure just like sideways chop for total 3. This is, you can't really do much in an area like this. I need to see price close below like this trend over here, or break this previous day high, and then we look for continuations. But looking at the lower time frames as well, we took out this level. You can see how it just wants to take out everyone that's trading right now. That's the problem, right? So it's quite a tricky market to get involved in any positions. Yeah. If we look at Ethereum, so like ETH, we spoke about ETH. Yesterday we said price breaks below this level, looking for sells. But it's just like, you could have got in here and taken out that low, like that would have been the trade. But your stops, you probably would have got stopped. I mean, I would have put my stop. I wouldn't have put it up above here, right? But you would probably put it up above this previous high over here, so it should be okay. But it just really a very, very hard position to be in, right? Because you're waiting hours, and then it plays out only late in the day / night, right? So it's you're not really getting those continuations that I normally get, which shows how choppy the market is in terms of my trades, right? So Casper, I'm be honest, I'm looking at a long for Casper. It's holding support really nicely. Daily breakout was already confirmed on the daily, right? We got that daily breakout. We spoke about that yesterday. But for the 4-hour time frame, this is kind of just what I'm looking at. If we hold the support over here and we get a close above this trend, I'll be looking for continuation to the upside for Casper. I like to just look at every token individually. Don't really compare it to any other tokens like Bitcoin. I know that Bitcoin, looking at the chart for Bitcoin, to me it's just ranging, right? If you say like on the 4-hour, if you say this is bullish or bearish, you don't really know, right? It's kind of just ranging between 2 levels. So in my opinion, looking at longs and shorts and different tokens is probably the way to go, right? Because if Bitcoin's going sideways, it could, anything could happen for any other token, right? So that's kind of why you'll see today I'll be looking for shorts and longs, probably on like lower time frames and swings on higher time frames, right? Because Bitcoin just chops, tokens will do their own thing, right? It depends. So we'll see what happens there. I am interested in taking this virtual long though, off this level. I'll let you know if I take this. Looking pretty clean though. I want to see virtual back up to this high over here. So we'll see what happens. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the chat.